Hey folks, it's me, Andrew Chadwick here at Leap Training Academy. Now today I want to take you through one of the stretch workouts that you can find on our online membership platform. The reason why I want to do that is because I want to kind of highlight just a few things that athletes can be doing, golfers can be doing to make sure that they're moving effectively through the areas of the body that they need to, like shoulders, thoracic spine, hips, back, just making sure that everything's moving well, and just one of the stretches and the stretch routines that we do with our athletes that are both online and in person. So go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, let's get into it, and I'm looking forward to this because I'm actually a little bit tight at the minute. So we're talking about mobility, and I'm starting off here with a dowel rotator cuff stretch. Now you can use a golf club, you can use a dowel like I've got here. Anything, a broom handle works as well. Anything that you can wrap your arm around and then use your opposite arm to help you is going to make it a good stretch. A little bit of playing that dowel really helped me, and I really like that. Now moving on, going to the kind of lateral stretch, side body stretch. Cross the feet over, so just make sure the outside foot is the side that we're stretching, and use the inside hand against the rack or a wall. That can really help you by pressing in and creating more of a lateral side bend. I really like this cat stretch. This is actually on double the speed. You probably can't tell. I'm only working the up portion primarily. I do actually switch and transition and start to make my way down into that kind of cow pose, but really try and just get some flexion and extension through the spine. Moving on into this kind of seated twist. So I'm just taking that one leg over and then I'm twisting my upper body. We find a lot of golfers that struggle with tightness through the back of the hips. And one thing that we really like is to be able to get them to open the hip joint out and then add some rotation. And that seems to really create a deeper stretch for them in the hips, which is really beneficial, obviously, for golfers. Moving on, staying ground-based, we're going into a kind of seated hamstring stretch. We're just making sure that we're opening the other hip out a little bit. So it's kind of that half sitting position with the crossed legs, and then just squaring the shoulders up to the foot and reaching on forward. I really like this for a hamstring stretch. I do a lot of hamstring stretching. I think it's one of those areas that it creates such a disadvantage in the hips and the way that the hips sit. So it's really good to stretch the hamstrings out so they don't affect how the hips are standing and kind of naturally positioned. Moving on, going into our 90-90 stretch and leaning over that front leg. Really like this variation and be able to kind of create some internal and external rotation of the hips here. Just that leaning over and that just kind of relaxed position over that front leg really helps get that deeper stretch in the hip. Continuing to work through the hips, but going more kind of kneeling based now. We're just going into a kind of a deep lunge, if you will. The back knee is down. It's almost like that kind of half groiner stretch, but I'm actually just staying in position, really trying to get my arms down to the ground as much as I can, separate the hips. So we're going into that kind of extension with the back leg, and we're going with the flexion of the hip. Transitioning there, I then go into kind of like an upper body twist. I'll use my hand on the knee that is up to kind of open out the hip a little bit more, get a bit of a press here, and really try and feel that I'm opening the hip out as I'm twisting away. This is really cool if you're struggling with any kind of groin issues or kind of opening the hip out. It's really beneficial. Staying ground-based, we'll obviously hit both sides here on all these stretches. I go into a quad stretch with a twist. I really like the twist variation to this because, again, we're rotational athletes. We want to make sure that we're stretching the areas of the body and see if we can get deeper ranges of motion, and that twist just kind of helps with this. Moving on, going into kind of like an open book type stretch. The only difference here is I'm just concentrating on the hip and what's going on the outside of the hip. So bring that knee up at 90 degrees, grab it with the opposite hand and bring it across the body just to take that knee across, foot down. And you're really trying to get here as much separation as you can. Some people might be able to get their knee down to the ground, some people might not. Just go as far as you can. Finishing it off here, going into that pigeon pose stretch. If you follow along with yoga, Really, I'm just focused here on staying nice and tall through my torso. I want to try and get as much range of motion as I can through the hip by trying to get the hip down and staying tall as opposed to potentially leaning forward. I'm just not that position right now. Again, I said at the start of the video, I'm a little tight here, so I'm trying to focus on just getting that range of motion in the hip first, and I can always progress later on. Okay, folks, there you have it. That's this week's video. Again, I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at for mobility days. This is something that I would do in an off day, so kind of active recovery. Maybe I'm playing golf today. We typically do 3-day training, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be an example. Some athletes might do kind of front-loaded in the week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full body sessions. But kind of that in-between day maybe, or kind of the day before, or the day after we're feeling a little kind of tired, fatigued from all the workouts that we've been doing, we'll definitely have mobility days in between. So maybe a lower body, upper body, a full body. And today was just that full body stretch session, just to kind of open out, loosen off, and then maybe kind of take some of that fatigue away that we can then go out and get on the golf course or a practice day that's going to help us then perform better. So if it's something that you're struggling with mobility wise, you can go ahead and use that workout from today. And if you're wanting more, you can go ahead and join our online membership where you can get access to all of those stretching plans, but also our programming as well that we do here at the Academy to help you hit the ball further and play your best golf in 2024. Again, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. Andrew Chadwick here at Elite Training Academy. Take care.